Greetings everyone, this is Mozard. Today I'll be giving you my impressions on the 2019 Suzuki Gixxer 150 version 2. This is the naked variant. Stay tuned. Alright, so first up we have the throttle. One thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that this version 2 has got fuel injection. The version 1 never got it. So the throttle response is pretty quick, and the roll on and roll off is pretty smooth as well. Let's see how the throttle blips are. Yep, pretty on point, I would say. The blips are pretty sharp. And I do believe it's going to be quite enjoyable riding this motorcycle. Now coming to the brakes, single channel ABS, 266mm disc at the front, 220mm disc at the back, and both the front and the rear brake units are from Bybrake. And the braking, let's see here. Yep, the braking is pretty good. No complaints with that. Now another thing I want you guys to keep in mind here is that this motorcycle is 4 kilos heavier than the version 1 and 6 kilos lighter than the SF150 version 2. Now coming to the suspension, you get conventional forks at the front and a monoshock at the back, and overall the suspension is stiffly sprung. Now in my SF150 impressions video, I did say that I hope that the naked variant gets softer springs, but unfortunately that's not the case. So don't expect a comfortable ride on bumpy roads on this bike. Next we have the transmission and the clutch. It's the same 5-speed gearbox as that in the SF150 and the previous generation Gixxers. And the gear shifts are pretty sticky. And so you do require a bit of finesse to shift the gears smoothly. Coming to the clutch, it's nice and light, it's very pleasant to operate, so no complaints about that. Now coming to the engine, 154.9cc, 2-valve, single-cylinder air-cooled engine. It's got a decent low end, superb mid-range, and an okay-ish top end. But most importantly, the acceleration is quite explosive, and I'm pretty sure that this motorcycle is gonna be very exciting throughout its life. It will never get boring, is what I'm trying to say. Now next we have the handling, which is quite exquisite. The bike just flicks side to side effortlessly, and this handlebar setup is just the kind of setup that I love. And yeah, the handling is just amazing. And cornering, if you would call this cornering, it's not much of a corner, but yeah, it's just an effortless corner, you know. Yep, that was really amazing. Next we have the ergonomics. The seat height is about 795mm, which is about 15mm more than the version 1. And you get a rider's triangle, which is more or less the same, with a comfortable upright sitting posture. And the reach to the handlebars is very comfortable, and it's perfect. It's not too far or too close. Now coming to the instrument cluster, the display is quite nice, but I still prefer the old display. You get a gear position indicator, tacho, speedo, and odometers, 2 trip meters, a clock, fuel gauge, and also an RPM shift light right there in the center. And coming to the switchgear, The switches are nice and clicky, and the quality seems to be pretty good. Yeah, that's about it. Next, we have the fit and finish. The fitting of most of the parts looks decent, except this one part here. There is a slight gap here. There's no gap on the other side. But other than that, everything seems to be perfectly fine. I don't see anything crooked, out of place, or misaligned. As far as the paint finish is concerned, it's pretty nice. I don't see any uneven or improper spray. So overall, the fit and finish is pretty good, except that one part, of course. Finally, let's talk about the aesthetics of this motorcycle. Now, there's been a lot of mixed opinions on this topic, especially regarding the headlight, but we'll get to that in a minute. The tank design is really clean and smooth, especially the tank shrouds. Very minimalistic design. It's not over-designed like in the Intruder 150. And coming to the headlights, I actually quite like it. I don't see any problem with it. Although there is one question that I do have, which is regarding the chambers in this headlight. You have a top, middle, and bottom chamber. The top and the bottom is your low beam, and the middle is your high beam. So my question is, why did Suzuki not opt for a two-chamber design, like in the Honda CB300R? They could have just gone with a two-chamber design with low beam on the top and high beam at the bottom. So that's the only question I have regarding the headlight. Now, I assume that there might have been some limitations because of the inverted egg-shaped design, but I guess I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, contrary to what a lot of people think, the design of the headlight is not stolen or copied from some other motorcycle. It is actually inspired from one of its own, which is the Suzuki Gladius SFV 650. I'll put up the image on the screen. Coming to the rear, you get an LED tail lamp, which is again the same as the SF150. In fact, if you remove the headlight and the handlebar, everything else on this bike is the same as the SF150. Now, although Suzuki made a pretty stupid decision, a pretty cheap decision by borrowing about 80 to 90% parts for this bike from the SF150, a new customer or a new buyer who has never owned a Gixxer before, they're not going to be bothered with that fact. For them, this motorcycle is going to be new and exciting. So, in a manner of speaking, that's going to be the saving grace for this motorcycle when compared with the SF150. Alright, so those were my impressions on the 2019 Suzuki Gixxer 150 version 2. I want to thank Midas Suzuki for lending me this motorcycle. I'll put their details in the description. If you ever visit the showroom, let them know I sent you. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Ride safe. I'll see you in the next one.